So you see a job you really want, but it's in another city a couple of 100 miles away. And you're thinking to yourself, I could do that job. I'm qualified for that job. That's the perfect role for me. Is it worth applying? And what things you've got to consider when you relocate? Relocation is, in my career of being a recruiter and the people I've dealt with over the years, um, it's difficult. I've done it 4 times myself, but where I have done it, I've had the easy route to do it, which is what I'm going to explain in this video as well. Some of the barriers and hurdles you've got to cross being trying to relocate for a job is probably the problems that you will face when it comes to applications. So for me, the easy route was it was an apprenticeship, it was a degree, it was moving for love, and at the end of the road was always somewhere I can live and stay. So I just jumped in a car, drove to the place, and lived there and did my job. Now, in the open market, if I wanted to go and relocate to Bristol, or if I wanted to go relocate to London, there are so many factors now I need to consider. Because one, I don't have a place to go when I get there. Two, is a hiring manager going to offer me the job over other people that already live in that particular area? And there's your kind of barriers to entry already. So let me go through the first one, which is the local area. What does that look like? Now, most jobs today will have a variety of applications from the local economy, the local area of people. Some might be great, some might be crap, some might be perfect for the role. But for you that's looking at the job all the way over there, and are you relevant or are you qualified for it, you're now put amongst other people. But you have a handicap, and that handicap is you don't live over there. So what does that mean? It's rare today that jobs will look at relocation. It's costly for the company. Some companies still do it, especially if it's something really, really difficult, like the job is really difficult to fill, or it's a very senior role and requires a certain type of person, and they don't exist in the local area, or they found someone specific and trying to put a package together to entice them to come and work for that particular company. So it's used very discretionally. In the vast majority of jobs, on the pyramid of jobs, as I like to call it, relocation package, no. I get international people actually saying to me, I will come and work there in that particular company if you give me relocation. And you're kind of like, no company does that for a £35,000 a year job, like I said, unless there's special circumstances. So you've got to think that if there's no relocation package, then sadly, you've got to pay for it. Oh, how much does that cost? Well, depending on which direction you go in, up and down the UK. The further north you get, the cheaper it will get. However, it's still going to be costly. You're looking 6 weeks deposit for a rental, and then another month, 2 months, 3 months. I mean, in London, we've heard of 12 months upfront for rent as well as a safety deposit. If you're thinking Airbnb, is that affordable until you find something in a local area? How long is that going to take to find something in a local area? But you're there. Then you've got B&Bs. Now, there are B&Bs out there that specialise or have worked with contractors for a long period of time, 6 months. That's a possibility. Finding a B&B in the local area. And once you find that B&B, then, you can start looking for a rental in that particular area. And there's your third problem as well. Locations at the moment are struggling with housing, and in some parts of the country it's really bad. In other parts of the country it's not too bad. It's, you'll find something, which makes you think, do you go and live as close to the office as possible, or do you go and live further out where it's maybe cheaper or maybe availability of housing? And you could live probably halfway then between the place or something, if that's capable of doing. So there's a lot of things you need to think about. Because you're thinking about these things, when you apply for that job and let's say the hiring manager goes, actually, I've got no one in my local area that could do this job, so I'm interested in speaking to you. However, I need you to prove to me that if I offered you a job, you can come and relocate here. And that's the barrier entry now that you need to get past. So it's great thinking about these things. Oh, it'll cost me 2, 3 grand, 4 grand to relocate. Maybe you've got own a house in a local area as well, in one area, and you're thinking, oh, I could rent that out. How are you going to do that? Are you going to sell your house? All these little things. Now you've got to put that down on paper and show the workings out to the hiring manager, as well as then be right for the job at the same time. So the hiring manager needs to be convinced you can relocate, and the hiring manager needs to be convinced you could do the job. So you've got two things you need to tackle here. Now, some people say to me, oh, but I did it for university. And like I said earlier, yes, you have done it for university. You've relocated, so you know what it's like to go somewhere, no friends, no social life, and build a life for yourself in another place. However, that has always had the supply of housing of some sort underneath you whilst you got there. The hardest part of this is finding somewhere to lay your head at night. That's the hardest part. I've had contractors take their caravan. I've had a variety of people go and rent or go and tent in a campsite. I've had a few things like that in my time. But on the contracting side of it, it's 6, 12, 8 months, wherever it is. It's not permanent. And companies really don't care when it comes to contractors. When it really doesn't matter. But when it comes to perm people, there's a different level of care and trust and kind of hope, basically, for that particular person. So go through that with yourself tonight, or go and speak to someone if you're looking to relocate. And I say this to a lot of students at the moment that are based in one place, especially international students, are based in London or based in Manchester, and they're applying for jobs all over the country. And I ask that simple question: how are you going to relocate? And there's a lot of answer, but then when it comes to the crunch, they can't do it. One last thing as well. If you have lived and worked within 10 miles of where you were born, and you've never relocated, not even for university, not even for love, never left the area to go to live somewhere for a month or 2 months and then come back, if you've never ever done it before, the chances are you're never going to do it into the future, especially the older you get, unless something really drastic happens, like you win a lottery or something. Because the coalfield people, they tend to be them. I hope that helps. Good luck.